Every day, something dramatic happens in the Caribbean that affects our lives. We'll give you the details. We'll give you the facts on Caribbean Perspective with Eddie Frederick. Here's Eddie Frederick.
Welcome to Caribbean Perspective. So glad you can join us. The story that takes the lead in today's edition for Monday, 24th June 2024, and brought to you in association with our friends at Antillean Group. CARICOM integration is needed more than ever. Details after this important message.
Believe in our strength, we'll stand by you. Protection from all, perils big and small. Reassurance we give, it's so clear to see. Peace of mind, that's our service guarantee. We look after all our family. Yes, we do at every opportunity.
Antillean Group, underwriters of all classes of insurance solutions for your protection and investment. Live well financially.
Welcome back. If the region is to combat current issues faced by shortages in the global supply chain, CARICOM integration is needed more than ever. So says Chairman of the Economic Advisory Committee of the Barbados Chamber of Commerce and Industry, Christopher Zambrano. He was speaking during the presentation of the 2023 Economic Outlook Survey, where over 50 companies across 11 sectors participated.
We have to do more to make CARICOM work, given what we have seen, and in order to face this uncertain environment, we need that unity in terms of creating our market to allow some of these critical industries to be onshored in our CARICOM region. I wouldn't say Barbados, but in our CARICOM region to work for the region.
Additionally, Mr. Zambrano says, while there are concerns about tariffs and other protections, regional governments need to band together to offer the requisite insurance for those willing to engage at that level.
Given what we went through in COVID, it was an eye-opener, and a number of people are really focused and committed to look. Food security is something we really need to address, and if the policymakers and the government ministers really mean are going to put, their political will behind this, then I think you'll find that there's more willingness to invest.
In the meantime, CARICOM welcomes Haiti's new Prime Minister, as we learn from this ZNS News item.
The Caribbean community welcoming the installation of Haiti's Prime Minister Gary Conille and his government. The region sees it as a much-anticipated and critical step in addressing the multifaceted crisis and facilitating the transition through free and fair elections toward a return to constitutional governance and restoration of lapsed institutions. The community has taken keen note of the priorities outlined by both the Prime Minister and the President, including public security, elections, economic recovery, food and health security, strengthening the rule of law and justice, the national conference, and constitutional reform, as well as infrastructure rehabilitation. CARICOM applauds emphasis that was also placed on improving the conditions of all Haitians, transparency and integrity in public affairs, and zero tolerance for corruption.
Trinidad and Tobago's Prime Minister is seemingly unworried and unsurprised following the clarion call from the joint trade union movement for its members to support the UNC in the next general election. But there seems to be some fragmentation within the labour movement with respect to this political endorsement. Not everyone seems to be on the same page. CNC3's Akash Samaru has more, including what political analysts are making of this development.
It was not too long ago that the labour movement helped remove a PNM government that held power for roughly 8 years. Now on Labour Day in Faizabad, the desire to remove them again was pellucid. But today when CNC3 News asked the Prime Minister if he's concerned at all by their endorsement of the UNC, Dr. Rowley asked, what's new? The Prime Minister said the country tasted the same flavour in 2010, and while there was great anticipation by many, the following 5 years under the partnership only brought chaos, confusion, lavish corruption, and bitter disappointment. The Prime Minister added that his government did the opposite. Dr. Rowley said they had meaningful and genuine discussions with the unions and gave them the best options available to the country. He admitted that not all of those options were painless, so it's not surprising to him to hear this reaction from those who, he said, misrepresent the nation's circumstances while providing no credible solutions. And political analyst Dr. Bishnu Raghunath believes the PNM should not be that worried, as history has shown that union leaders cannot command their followers in how they vote.
The trade union movement have their own political party, which is the MSG. But yet still they have not been able to get people to vote for the MSG. Why?
But the PNM won't have to face the might of all trade unions in this country. While the PSA and OWTU clearly called on their members to vote for the UNC, other unions are staying out of it. On Wednesday, TUTA maintained its political neutrality. Today, a few others followed suit. The Amalgamated Workers Union said they told their members to vote for who they want. The Communication Workers Union said it will not support the UNC nor the PNM, while the Banking, Insurance and General Workers Union told CNC3 News that it is not endorsing any political party, at least for now. Akash Samaru, CNC3 News.
A former Senate president in Trinidad and Tobago says the process of awarding silk has become compromised and is agitating for a new system. Timothy Hamill-Smith maintains the contentious process must be devoid of all political influences. The latest call for change comes amid continued criticisms over the Prime Minister's role in determining who is bestowed the title. Jesse Ramdio of CNC3 News tells us more.
As questions continue to loom over the selection process of attorneys for the title of silk, former Senate President Timothy Hamill-Smith is the latest to offer an answer. In a response to questions from CNC3 News, Hamill-Smith says he agrees that the system of elevating the rank of lawyers needs to be revamped. According to him, it has to be seen as transparent and devoid of political influence. Just this year, Government Minister Faris Al-Rawi and Port of Spain South MP Keith Scotland agreed that the process can be reformed. Political analyst Dr. Bishnu Raghunath says the concerns raised by attorney and former House Speaker Nizam Mohammed that there may have been interference which led to his name being removed from the list are allowed to linger given the political aspects of the process, as the Prime Minister makes the final recommendation to the President on who is to be promoted.
Trinidad and Tobago should try to get away from having political interference in every sort of activity which will now influence the future advancement and development of the various areas outside of the politics.
According to the former president of the Assembly of Southern Lawyers, Michael Ruplal, there's urgent need for reform of the appointment process of senior counsel. He says, over a decade after a committee presented the Silk report, there's been no implementation of recommendations which included the role of an independent panel in elevating attorneys to Silk. But why does Silk matter, and what does it mean for its recipients? Well, the latest awardees, including Ministers Stuart Young and Faris Al-Rawi, will now have preeminence before all courts. It means they're given greater respect and standing before the courts. For example, most fiscal courts will have special seating closest to the judicial officer for senior counsels. They're also given priority before the courts, meaning their matters are called and dealt with first. Senior counsels are also entitled to appear with a junior attorney in matters, and the rates which they may charge are higher than other attorneys. Jesse Ramdale, CNC3 News.
You're listening to Caribbean Perspective with Eddie Frederick, in association with our friends at
Antillean Group, underwriters of all classes of insurance solutions for your protection and investment. Live well financially.
The hurricane season is now upon us, so we as Caribbean people need to remember to think safety and be prepared. Avoid venturing outside during a storm or hurricane, especially if there are strong winds. Rooftops and other debris are often blown about and can cause great damage.
Former Prime Minister of the Bahamas, Hubert Ingram, released from Doctors Hospital after having brain surgery on Monday last.
Convalescing at home. Those are the instructions given to the family of former Prime Minister, the Right Honourable Hubert Ingram, following brain surgery on Monday. Now, earlier today, we had a chance to capture some shots of the former Prime Minister as he was being discharged from Doctors Hospital, preparing to make his way home for further rest. Now, before his departure, we did have a chance to speak directly with him in regards to a number of rumors which surfaced across social media following that surgery.
Come to expect that with life. It would have been the first time. I've been there in London before. I've been that's so no, that's not. I made sure that the public got facts as soon as I had the operation on Monday night, and I gave instructions on Tuesday that they should make a statement sometime before the day. They told me to do so at 5 p.m. And that was fun. I feel good. No pain, no side effects. I feel good.
Neurologist Dr. Magnus Akadidi, who spoke with us about the operation, says while the cause of the blood clots are a mystery, a full recovery should be realized within a couple of weeks.
For the mere fact that he's up in age a little bit, so sometimes it's more frequent when you reach 50, 60, 70, you could get that. And trauma, let's say if you hit your head, a minor trauma can cause that too. So it depends. Unless you are taking medications, in that case it's not, blood thinners, but in that case it's not. So that's one of those things. Sometimes you look for the cause, you never find the cause of it. 2 weeks for this, make sure the tissues are healed, but you could drive after 2 weeks. You start driving. If you could go to, after 3 weeks, go to beach. That kind of stuff. He should have a normal life from now.
Now, Germany, the road to recovery in clear sight for the former Prime Minister, as friends, family, supporters, as well as many Bahamians in general, offering lots of love, but prayers toward a speedy recovery.
CVM's Trisha Gay Kelly reports that Jamaica's health minister accuses the opposition of playing politics to score cheap points on the nation's health, which they claim is in crisis.
Health and Wellness Minister Dr. Christopher Tufton at a media briefing Thursday attempted to clear the air about what he calls mischief being created by the opposition regarding the state of the public health care system. Only Wednesday, his opposition counterpart Dr. Alfred Dawes at a media briefing concluded that if the healthcare system continues as it is, Jamaica will continue to produce more horror stories. A day later, Minister Tufton replied,
"There's a tendency to be hyperbolic or exaggerate by the opposition the issues in the health system, almost as a sort of scare tactic to serve what I consider to be narrow political ends."
The program for the reduction of maternal and child mortality, PROMAC, also came under scrutiny, but the minister maintains his support of the advancements made, insisting that COVID-19 caused the resources to be diverted.
And for 2 years, the program focused on COVID. So those beautiful structures that were built were used as isolation wards to save hundreds of lives. Patients were placed who were infected with COVID, who had to be ventilated, who had to be isolated.
Meanwhile, Senior Medical Officer at the Maypen Hospital, Dr. Bradley Edwards, provided an update on the facility since the recent incident in which a mother lost her newborn baby.
We had a meeting yesterday morning with the regional hospital, Maypen Hospital, Black River Hospital, Percy-Chuna. All the different hospitals came together to come up with a solution to see how best we could handle a situation like that may arise.
Trisha Gay Kelly, CVM News.
And back to Trinidad and Tobago, there was a surprise in the lower house on Friday last, as Member of Parliament for Komuto Manzanilla, Rai Ragbir, voted in favour of the passage of the Whistleblower Protection Bill. Sunil Lala of TTT News reports.
Mr. Rambali? No. Dr. Ragbir?
Yes.
The Parliament channel didn't exactly capture the face of Rai Ragbir as he voted in favour of the Whistleblower Protection Bill 2022, but it was clear that it was in contradiction to how all the opposition members voted. His decision to vote in favour of the bill caught the attention of the government, who praised him for putting the country first.
With a division of 22 members voting for, 15 members voting against, and no abstentions, the motion for the Whistleblowing Protection Bill 2024 is approved.
And following the voting stage of that bill, Minister of Public Utilities Marvin Gonzalez thanked MP Ragbir for leading by example.
And I want to commend the action of my esteemed colleague from Komoto Manzanilla to my colleague from Mayaro, that when you wish to seek to lead and to lead a party, you must stand on your own. You must stand on your 2 feet. You must stand for integrity. You must stand for honor. You must lead by example. And therefore, from this evening, Madam Speaker, the new leader of the opposition is the honourable member for Komoto Manzanilla.
The bill aims to combat corruption and other wrongdoings by encouraging and facilitating disclosures of improper conduct in the public and private sector. It also seeks to protect persons making disclosures from detrimental action and regulate the receiving, investigating, or otherwise dealing with disclosures of improper conduct. Sonolala, TTT News.
I am Eddie Frederick. This has been Caribbean Perspective, a whole new approach to highlighting developments in the Caribbean. In the meantime, please follow us on Facebook and subscribe to our YouTube channel for daily regional news and more, in association with our friends at Antillian Group.
Believe in our strength, we'll stand by you. Protection from all, perils big and small. Reassurance we give, it's so clear to see. Peace of mind, that's a service guarantee. We look after all our family. Yes, we do at every opportunity.
Antillian Group, underwriters of all classes of insurance solutions for your protection and investment. Live well financially.